Welcome to Materials and Methods Matter. In this episode, I will create a simple ink wash illustration. Then I will demonstrate how to embellish the illustration with pen and ink. Let's begin our ink wash illustration. Normally I'd work from light to dark, but in this case I have some very dark areas on the feather. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the dark areas, just add some ink wash into those areas, because then as I continue to add more ink wash, these will get darker. So we have the darkest areas of the feather. Normally I would have a much lighter drawing, but because we're filming this, it's very frustrating sometimes if you don't see the lines. And plus I'm going to add ink, pen and ink to this afterwards. So let me fill in these darkest areas. Our next step is to add a light wash to all the feathers except for the tip of this feather, which we want to remain white. So I am right-handed, so I am going to start my furthest feather and work towards this way, so I do not rub my palm through the wet ink wash. Now that our ink wash layers are thoroughly dry, we're going to add some more layers. We want to add to the bottom of this feather and also the side of this feather. This one here, I'm going to just go through and darken the dark areas. Now I'm going to finish up by making a few adjustments. This area here of the feather I want to make a little darker, so I'm going to add, so we have a more contrast, plus this part of the feather is actually almost black. So after it all dries, I could even come back and add more to this, but I'm just going to keep going over it. Get it pretty dark. Down here we have all these little downy feathers, and I'm just gonna put in a little bit of ink wash down here, simply because when I do my pen and ink over the top of this, it'll make this softer. Also, I want to do the quills. If you were going to stop here, you would like to have this definition in here showing the quill of the feather. Just using the tip of the brush and pull that in. Same with over on this feather here. Make these just a little darker. I say adjustments are made as you see fit. Over here I want to add, again just with the tip of the brush, darken up the quill. We need a little darker in this area. And there's our finished ink wash illustration. You could stop here and just do ink wash, but I'm going to go on in the next step and show how to embellish it with pen and ink, adding ink lines. Next I'm going to add some pen and ink elements to the feathers that are already ink washed. I'm going to be using my Molotow Blackliner 0.3 millimeter pen. And I'm going to start with the feather quills. Light, just putting some thin lines down, broken lines. As my quill gets wider, of course, we want to double up. This quill goes behind the others, so I'm going to stop there and then continue on. Next, I'm going to go to the center one and do the same thing. Next I'm going to go to my other feather, and this one also goes behind. I'm also going to work in some of the downy feathers here. And now I'm going to start on this feather here, and I'm going to start adding some of the feather lines. In the darker area, you can see that I'm going to add lines in between. See it better on this one because it's a darker quill. Also on the edges, I'm going to, instead of having an outline, a straight outline, I'm going to have marks that follow these. These do not have to be solid. These lines can also be broken. Don't worry, your eye will connect the dots. Next I'm going to go to work on the center feather. You can see the comparison between just ink wash and ink wash with inking lines. So I'm going to begin at my top. Just do some broken lines here. Now I'm going to continue on with my third feather, just following the same pattern sequence. To finish up our illustration, we want to use our Moo soft vinyl eraser. Basically get rid of any graphite that's still showing through. This will sharpen your lines, also make for a nice clean drawing. You might also notice that I added a circle. I could have added a rectangle, as I have here, but it's up to you and how you want to frame it and what accents you would like to add. Stay tuned for more episodes of Materials and Methods Matter. Materials and Methods Matter was inspired by my book, Making Art, Materials and Techniques for Today's Artist. For more videos on Materials and Methods Matter, as well as lesson plans and other instructional videos, visit Thalo.com.